My cousin Victoria's wedding invitation was exactly what you'd expect from someone who calls herself Manhattan's next big fashion influencer. It came in a fancy silk envelope with a gold-printed card inside, probably more expensive than my rent. Not that it mattered. 3 different relatives had already told me I wasn't really expected to come. "It's nothing personal, Sophia," my Aunt Charla had said carefully over the phone. "Vicky just wants everything to be perfect. You understand, right?" She meant that my plain shoes and simple job as a small-time seamstress didn't fit the stylish image Victoria wanted. It didn't seem to matter that I had been making clothes since we were kids, that I helped her start her first fashion blog, or that I spent hours teaching her about fabric and design. Now that she had 500,000 Instagram followers and a wedding budget bigger than most people's yearly salary, I was forgotten. I set the invitation down on my workbench right next to my sketchbook, where I had been designing ideas for her wedding dress for a year. She hadn't asked me to, but I couldn't help it. I had always designed for her, ever since we were little, playing dress-up in my mom's sewing room. My phone buzzed. A text from Aunt Charla. "Aunt Charla, Vicky's in a panic. Her designer just quit. Something about creative differences. She's freaking out. Do you know anyone who can help?" I stared at the message, thinking about the email I got 3 months ago. Victoria's famous designer, Alessandro Romano, had actually reached out to me for advice. We had been secretly working together ever since, without Victoria knowing. "The design has no soul," he had written. "Your cousin wants luxury, but she doesn't understand what that really means. You know, fabrics, craftsmanship, help me make something real." So I did. Late at night, after finishing my other sewing work, I sent him sketches. He refined them, added his signature touches, and sent them back. We created something beautiful, a wedding dress that was both elegant and artistic. But last week, things changed. Alessandro's messages became short and frustrated. "Your cousin wants changes that ruin the design. She keeps asking for random details from celebrity dresses, just copying others, with no real vision. I can't do it." I had tried to help, to suggest compromises. But Victoria had always been stubborn, especially when her online image was on the line. Now, I had a choice. I could recommend another designer, someone who would give her exactly what she wanted, a mix of copied styles made for social media attention. Or, I picked up my phone and called. "Ah, my secret collaborator," Alessandro said. "I assume you heard that I quit." "Yes. My aunt just texted me." "This wedding has become a circus," he sighed. "All for show, no real beauty. Like trying to make art with emojis." I took a deep breath. What if we show her our original designs, the ones we created together? There was silence. "Then she'll find out you were involved," he said. "She might not like that." Maybe it's time she remembers who first taught her about real design, before the fame, before she started copying trends. He was quiet for a moment. "The designs we made, they're much better than anything she asked for." But she would have to admit that her plain cousin actually has talent. Sometimes people need to face the truth. "Ha, you're braver than she realizes." I could hear him smiling. "All right, I'll come back, but only if we do this together. You have to be at the consultation tomorrow." My hands shook slightly as I agreed. After hanging up, I gathered my sketchbooks, not just the wedding dress ideas, but all the designs I had ever made for Victoria, back when she cared more about creativity than social media likes. The next morning, I walked into Alessandro's studio in my usual simple outfit, black dress, comfortable flats, no makeup. Victoria was already there, surrounded by her bridesmaids, all looking like they had just stepped out of a fashion magazine. She saw me first. "Sophia, what are you doing here? This is a private meeting." "Your cousin is here because I invited her," Alessandro said, walking in with his usual dramatic flair. "In fact, she is the reason I returned to your wedding project." Vicky frowned. "What are you talking about? You don't even know Sophia." "Oh, then explain this." He pulled out a folder and laid our sketches on the table, months of work, detailed with flowing lines and handwritten notes. Vicky's face went from confused to shocked. Then, horror set in as she recognized my handwriting in the margins. "This can't be real," she whispered. "Sophia doesn't. She can't." "Can't what?" Alessandro asked sharply. "Can't design? Can't understand high fashion?" Look at these sketches, Victoria. Look at the craftsmanship, the way the fabric moves, the balance of tradition and modern style. This is real design. Her hands trembled as she picked up one of the sketches, my personal favorite. But you're just a seamstress, she said to me. You fix hems and mend dresses. I learned to sew before I learned to draw, I said quietly, because you have to understand how something is made before you can design it. You used to believe that too, before Instagram likes mattered more than creativity. One of her bridesmaids leaned over the table. These are amazing, she said. Vicky, this is way better than those copied celebrity dresses. Shut up, Vicky snapped. This is sabotage. You all planned this. First, Alessandro quits, then you bring in my cousin, who wasn't even invited, to embarrass me. No one is against you, Alessandro said. Sophia has been helping me design your dress for months because she knows you. The real you. Not the version you show online. Every choice in these sketches was made with you in mind, not just what's trending. I don't believe you, Vicky said, but her voice shook. Sophia has never designed anything important. I didn't argue. Instead, I pulled out my oldest sketchbook. Inside were the designs we made as kids, diddles of dream dresses with her notes scribbled next to mine. You loved fashion back then, I said softly. Not for the attention, but because you truly loved creating. Remember your prom dress? How we stayed up all night making sure the skirt flowed just right? She stared at the old pages, reaching out to touch them before pulling back. That was different. We were kids. This is my wedding. It has to be perfect. Perfect for who? I asked. Your followers? The magazines? Or you? She didn't answer. Alessandro gathered up our sketches. I'll give you time to think. These designs are full of care and creativity. They could make your wedding truly yours. Or you can hire someone else to copy another bride's dress. Your choice. He turned to me. Come, Sophia. We have other things to discuss. We were almost at the door when Vicky called out. Wait. She hesitated. The blue dress. The one with the cascading panels. Can I see it again? I hid my smile. It was the design. I knew Vicky would choose the dress we dreamed up years ago. But what happened next would change more than just her wedding. It would shake our entire family, because Vicky wasn't the only one about to face the truth about talent, authenticity, and success. After Vicky and her entourage left, Alessandro's studio was silent. I sat at his work table, surrounded by our sketches, waiting for the storm I knew was coming. Right on cue, my phone buzzed with messages. Aunt Charlotte, how could you do this to Vicky? She's already stressed. Mom, your aunt is hysterical. What happened at the designers? 3 cousins. Wait, did you really design Vicky's dress? But it was the last message that made my hands shake. Grandma Rose, the family matriarch. It's time, dear. Bring Alessandro and your portfolios to my house tonight. All of them. I showed Alessandro. He raised an eyebrow. All of them. Does she mean everything? I nodded. The bridal collection, the evening wear, the ready-to-wear sketches. He smirked. Ah, so I'm not the only one keeping secrets. I had never told anyone about the designs I've been creating for years, filling sketchbooks with ideas for my own fashion brand. Even my clients, who trusted me with their alterations, had no idea. Tonight could change everything, I whispered. Or, Alessandro prompted. Or it could prove what Vicky and everyone else believes, that I'm just a seamstress who got lucky helping a real designer. He scoffed. False modesty doesn't suit you. Bring your work. Let them see what real talent looks like. When we arrived at Grandma Rose's townhouse, it was packed. She had summoned the entire family. Vicky sat with Aunt Charlotte, both looking irritated. Mom stood by the fireplace, worried but supportive. Aunts, uncles, and cousins filled the room, whispering. Grandma Rose stood. Sophia, Alessandro sat up in the dining room. Everyone else, patience. I laid out my portfolios on the dining table, years of designs, carefully sketched and detailed. As family members gathered around, there were gasps. These are yours? Cousin Emma whispered, but they look professional. Innovative, Alessandro corrected. Worthy of Paris Fashion Week. Vicky pushed forward. I don't get it. If you could design like this, why have you been working as a seamstress? Grandma Rose answered instead. Because she was learning. Not just fashion, but how clothes work on real bodies, how fabrics move, what people actually need. She picked up a sketch of a convertible dress that adapted to different body types. This isn't just design. It's engineering. It's understanding. Something Instagram can't teach. But Aunt Charlotte started. Enough. Grandma's voice was firm. I've watched this family ignore Sophia's talent for years because it didn't come with a fancy label. You praised Vicky's social media fame but overlooked real artistry. She turned to Alessandro. You saw it, didn't you? The first time she sent you sketches. He nodded. Raw talent, refined by real experience. When Victoria hired me, I was burned out, tired of making copycat designs for celebrities. Then I saw Sophia's work and I remembered why I love fashion. Grandma Rose pulled out a heavy envelope. Sophia, do you know what this is? I shook my head. Your grandfather's final gift to you, Grandma Rose said softly. He knew you needed time to grow your talent without family pressure, so he left you something, only to be given when you were ready. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. Inside was a deed and bank statements. A small building in the garment district, Grandma explained, and enough money to start your own fashion line. He bought it 20 years ago, back when you first started sketching designs instead of just sewing. He said one day you'd need your own studio. The room erupted into chaos. Aunt Charlotte cried about fairness. My cousins flipped through my portfolio, excited. Mom looked like she might faint. But I was watching Vicky. She stood quietly, her fingers tracing one of my evening wear sketches. This one, she whispered. I remember when you first drew something like it. We were 15, dreaming about the future. You promised to design my wedding dress one day. You remember that? I remember everything, she said, eyes shining. How patient you were teaching me fashion. How you never got angry when I took credit for our designs. How you supported my blog, even when I pretended I'd learned from industry pros instead of you. She looked up. I got lost in the influencer world in what my followers expected. I forgot who I really am, who we were together. The blue dress, I said. The one you loved in Alessandro's studio. It's based on those old sketches. She nodded. I recognize your signature layering. You always made fabric move like water. Alessandro cleared his throat. Perhaps this wedding dress could be a collaboration. The first project of Sophia's new studio with both of you. Vicky hesitated. You'd still work with me, after everything. You're my cousin, I said simply. And under all the filters, you're still the girl who spent hours talking about sleeve construction and hem techniques. What followed was a whirlwind. The building needed work, but with Alessandro's help, we turned it into a real design studio. Vicky's wedding dress became our first official project, this time with full credit to both of us. Her social media documented the whole process, but now it wasn't about likes. It was about real artistry. The dress was everything we once dreamed of, classic yet modern, elegant yet fresh. When Vicky walked down the aisle, people gasped, not just at her beauty, but at the craftsmanship. A week later, Sophia Anderson Designs launched. Our first collection, designed by me, Alessandro, and yes, Vicky, sold out in hours. Turns out, real talent mixed with social media influence is a powerful thing. Not bad for a plain seamstress. But the best part, every tag on our designs carries a small embroidered rose, Grandma's signature flower. Because real legacies aren't about money or fame. They're about honoring the people who taught you to create something real.